We've completed week 5 of remote learning, and I am so thrilled that we are outside of our comfort zone. The change, the growth, the transformation, it's tremendous.
Hi, my name is Michael Smith. I'm from Duncan Middle School, and I'm a science teacher. Today is the first time that I've ever used Screencastify to go along with my Google Slides. And I don't know why I was so reluctant to use it before, because it was honestly one of the easiest things, and my students have already told me that the lesson went much better hearing my voice and seeing all the annotations to go along with the slides. So this is something that I'm definitely going to be using even when we go back to school. So if you haven't done it yet, I think you should check it out. All right.
Hi. So the thing about kids is that they love sharing stuff about themselves. So whenever I do a bell ringer, I make sure to include their last name, first name, student number. This helps me look at the data a lot easier. I add my content questions, as I would always do in class. But now I also get to add a fun little question at the end, like, who's the greatest GOAT of any sport? I don't know sports, but my kids know sports and they love talking about it. Or I ask them reflection questions like, what is the healthiest thing you did this weekend? Or I ask them weird little questions like, what would be a magical tool that you wish you could invent? Or if you could eat free at any restaurant for the rest of your life, what would it be? I found out that day that a lot of my kids love Chipotle and Taco Bell, and a lot of them love their mom's cooking, which I thought was so cute. It's a fun way to get to know your kids, and it makes the whole bell ringer thing a little lighter for them. And these are also really easy to grade. So what you do is, once you have your responses, you just go to the question, you go to the you click on the question that you want to look at, and then once you read it, you can just really easily mark that you're giving them 5 points. It's super easy and it's super fun for them.
A couple of things that might help you out in the coming weeks. One is called Flipgrid. Flipgrid is a way in which students can respond to questions you might post using short video clips. So you can create what's called a grid. I would recommend creating a grid for each class. Therefore, it's a little more manageable. In each grid, you create topics. Topics are the questions you want the kids to answer. The kids go in through the link you provide. They record their video answering their question. They can use emojis. They can use pictures and backgrounds and a whole bunch of different things. It's a lot of fun. And they can answer your question that way. So that was one thing that I really enjoyed using. Another thing that I used this week, well, my team used this week, was called Gimkit. Gimkit is like a Kahoot, where it's multiple choice questions that are asked. It's just a little different format and a little nicer for older kids to use. So as the kids answer questions correctly, they earn money. Now they use this money at the shop to buy upgrades so that their questions are worth more money. Now the questions might be worth more money if they get it correct, but if they get it wrong, it will also deduct that same amount of money. So they're really betting on themselves and the knowledge that they have. The other thing I like is that the kids don't have to wait for me to go to the next question. It's self-paced. So those students who are very competitive or even knowledgeable in the subject area, they're able to answer the questions quickly and try to rack up that money as quick as possible to get those upgrades and win the game. There are also a couple of ways in which you can play the game. One is time. So if you only have 5 minutes for a game, you can put a 5-minute cap on it. You can go higher than that. So if you want a longer game, you can. I would suggest not too long. Also, you can do it by amount of money. So the first person up to a certain amount of money, they win the game. And as soon as that person is up to that amount of money, or they've hit that time period, the entire game closes and turns off everyone from being able to answer questions, and then you have your top scores, just like at the end of a Kahoot. So It's different, it's a little more competitive. I think it's really good for the older kids. It keeps them entertained and engaged much longer than the Kahoot and that waiting time that happens to be there. So just a couple of things that might help you out through the week. I hope you guys are staying sane and get some R&R this weekend.
Hi everyone, it's Melanie Lobeto at Omni Middle School. So last week I did an actual live debate with my students. So my ultimate goal with this is to eventually do a Socratic seminar. But after our discussion boards 2 weeks ago, the students really wanted to argue online, like live. And so we tried it. We obviously talked about rules first and expectations, and they did research beforehand. And we did it. It was a nice and controlled debate. Each of them had a turn in answering and counteracting each other, and it was great. So I encourage you guys to try it.
Hey everybody, hope everyone is well. Well, this one is kind of short. When you're presenting your Google Slides to your students, as you lecture and you're recording your lesson, on the bottom is a part where you can write lecture notes. I would suggest that you write those notes there. Now, I have a DHH student, I have a lot of students that are ESE. So the reinforcement of you speaking and them looking at on the bottom of each slide, they're looking at the notes as well, is really going to help reinforce what they are learning. It's a quick tip. I hope you use it if you haven't already. It may be some extra work, but I think it's worth it. Be well.
Hi everyone, it's Jacqueline from Woodlands Middle. I am not coming to you from space. Believe it or not, I am coming to you from my Google Meet. I'm in office hours right now and I wanted to show you how you can get this cool background. So if you go to snapcamera.snapchat.com, you would download, follow the instructions, and then it will bring you to this screen here where you can select filters and backgrounds. So I have found space to be my favorite background so far. And then I also love this feature here because it glams you up and makes you look like you have makeup on, which I do not. So that's fantastic. And then you can, there's so many different filters you can go through. I like the blue-haired one here. That's pretty cool, right? And then it will also change it in the Google Meet as you are changing it on the screen. Hope you enjoy.
Hi everyone, a helpful tip that I have this week is using Paradeck during Google Meets with students. I find it is an easy way to keep the students engaged when you can't see them because their camera is off as well as their mic is off. So in order to do this, you first need to download the extension Paradeck onto your Google Slides, and then instead of presenting through Google Slides, you just present with Paradeck. Once you do that, you then get a code for students to join. So this is what the student side will look like, and they would simply put in the code just like they would with a Kahoot. So they put in that code, and then it will bring them to the presentation. And then when you're using it in teacher mode, you have access to change the screen. And then when you have the free upgrade that Paradeck did, you also get a view that allows you to see students' responses. So for instance, if I change my slides to one of the ones that students would respond with, students see it like this, and they would simply add a response in the box, and then they would submit it, and then on your end you see exactly what the student put, and you also have their name so you can keep track of them. And then there's also different types of slides where students can draw on them, because a lot of this they can do in the comment box, but the drawing ones and the circling is something that they can't do in the comment box.
So, the one thing I learned this week was to turn your camera off when you were in presentation mode. I didn't know that this was an option. I thought that when you went into presentation mode and the little computer says, hey, do the Chrome or the whole screen, and I select whole screen, they won't see me, right? I can just really quickly eat my sandwich, no biggie, right? Yeah, huge biggie. Not only did they watch animal interactions, they also got to watch their teacher interact with her lunch. So, moral of the story, turn the camera off.
Hey everybody, Heather here from Palm Springs Middle. My biggest tip for this week would be to continue to share. Share what you're doing with people that may not be as comfortable as you are, and share with people everything that you're learning. That may be something that you think has been around for a while, or something that you don't really think of as something that somebody would need or would want to know. But just share what you're learning, because you never know if it could be useful to somebody. I had a friend at another school who recently this week tried something that they were not so comfortable with in the past and haven't really wanted to do this whole entire digital learning experience. And they stepped out of their comfort zone just because I've been sharing and continuing to urge and push. And really proud of that person for doing that. And after they got done, they let me know, and we talked through some of the kinks that kind of happened in the lesson, and looked at other different extensions and new tips that they could even use to continue doing what they're doing. So just tell people, continue to do what you're doing, share what you're learning, and encourage people to take a new leap of faith. Hope this helps. Bye.
This week, in our 5th week of distance learning, I tried Flipgrid with my students. I asked them to present their opinions about cloning. Throughout the week, I gave them lessons and resources to use so that they could come up with their own stance on cloning. The challenging part of Flipgrid was having my students tell me that they didn't want to do a video recording or have their voice heard. I did modify certain requirements for them. However, I did request that they continue with the program and use Flipgrid the best way they could without video or voice, because I feel that it's important for them to use alternate forms of academics to get their point across or to complete an assignment. I do believe that this is where the future of education and jobs will be going. So I wanted them to persevere, and many of them did. Personally, I made sure to take way more walks this week, because I did find that after sitting for so long looking at emails, doing grades and Google Meets, that quite frankly my behind was hurting. So that was what I did for me personally. And next week, I'm looking forward to trying something new again, as I assign to my students a claim evidence reason about genetic modifications. And in the week will culminate with a discussion board debate, and they will have to use all of their evidence and reasoning from the week as I give them resources to look at. I'll let you know what happens. Thank you, and I look forward to the next
Hi everybody,
week.
Elaine Slinsky from Woodlands. I'm going to paraphrase a quote from Pele. Success is no accident. It's hard work, it's perseverance, it's learning, it's studying, it's sacrifice, but most of all, it's love. It's the love of what you do. Keep working hard, keep learning, keep studying. We'll persevere together, but most of all, keep loving what you do. We're all in this together.
It was Steve Jobs who said that the only way to do great work is to love what you do. It is abundantly clear that the teachers in Palm Beach County love what they do.